Okay, here's a look at Transformers Age of the Primes Aerialbot Air Raid. So here you could see what the front of the box looks like with the nice artwork there of Air Raid in robot mode and in alt mode. And the back of the box, you get your typical product image. And up here it says collect to combine 1 of 5. So that's a look at the back and the side. Here you could see I think these are the primes in gold statues. So that's a nice art there. And then the other side, we got the nice artwork of Superion. Top of the box, Aerialbot Air Raid, and the bottom warning words and stuff. So that is a look at the box. And again, this figure was brought to me by my friend and owner of toyarena.com, and this figure is not sponsored by toyarena.com, but I just wanted to give a shout out to my friend. If you're interested in getting this figure, he does have these. He tends to sometimes get certain figures in earlier than others for those people, wanting to get figures sooner. But anyways, now we can take a closer look at the figure. But first, as always, we need to go over the instructions and the accessories. And here, let's go over the accessories first. So first, we get 2 of Air Raid's signature gun. And I say signature because, these angled shapes, yeah, that is Air Raid's gun. We get 2 of them, so that's nice. And then these, which I like to call assembly required accessories. So here first, you need to come to the back. They attach to the back, but they can't go this way. They actually have to go up. And there is a difference between the two, so it's kind of site specific. So here you could see the inside has it cut out there, and the outside is flush. So you want to have it on the outside, but you need to rotate it up just so he could stand up. Yeah, not a big deal, but yeah, that's just the proper way to assemble the figure. And then we have his handguns. You get 2 of them. That's cool. So you could maybe put one here, kind of pretending to be missiles in his alt mode. And the other one, we can give it to his hand, like so. And now we have Air Raid in his robot mode. So just a quick overview. This is a nice looking figure. There are little issues that I have with it that I always make sure to point out. But first, let's do this. Let's compare this with the animation model. And then we can see how well they captured the toon aesthetics. And you could see that, when you look at the colors, you could see that, they did a nice job capturing the colors. Except for the issue that I have, you could see the black joints there at the hips. It should be white. And I honestly think that's just another thing Hasbro is doing deliberately on purpose. But anyways, the back view, you could see it's not really toon accurate. The wings of the plane should be dropped down lower, so it kind of looks like a cape, which I actually think that design's cool, but they didn't design it that way. And then you could see the bottom of the wings here. They're facing up because the figure can't really stand up when it's rotated the other way around. But anyways, that's a look with the animation model. So now let's zoom in and come up close so we can get a better look at the figure. And here you could see he does have a somewhat nicely sculpted head. I say somewhat because the head looks like it's kind of squished in. And I think that's kind of like the design that they're doing on purpose to kind of make it feel like a toy. Yeah, but his head basically should be a little wider. That's my point. But I do like the gray face, and I actually like the touch of the silver paint on the top, because his head actually is a little gray on the top. But yeah, just to make a difference between the top and the face, I like how it's gray and silver, so that's cool. And then as you move down, you could see, you know, there is some sculpted detail in there, and then on the shoulders and stuff. So this one, you know, it doesn't look like they sculpted in a lot of detail, but they did put in little accents to, you know, kind of capture the toon aesthetics. So yeah, I think this is done really well. And then in terms of the articulation, his head does rotate side to side. It can go up and down all around because it is on a ball joint. And then his shoulders, you can see there's a joint there, so it can go out. It can go forward and back. He does have a bicep swivel, and he does have just a tiny bit more than 90-degree bend. And then some people might like this, you know, the hand is not sculpted into the wrist, but it does leave that gappage or waffle, which again, for me, these things don't matter because this is a mainline retail figure. So that's kind of expected. It's not a collectible, a masterpiece collectible. But anyways, if you want, you can kind of fake a little wrist articulation that way. When you come to the waist, you could see he does have a waist rotation, so that's cool. Unlike Fans Toys masterpiece Aerialbots, yeah, you get a waist rotation at the crotch. But anyways, here you could see, yeah, the black, that should be white. They can rotate forward, back, out to the side. You do get thigh rotation. You do get a 90-degree knee bend. Make it look like he's flying. That's cool. And then he does have ankle rocker, which is the way the figures are designed today. And he does have a toe tilt up, but no toe tilt down. So overall, I think there is a good amount of articulation, and you can get some really cool dynamic poses out of it that holds well, because the tolerance of all these joints is really tight. So I think that's really cool. And like I said many times with the current retail figures, look at this is built really solid and stable. I mean, you could be really rough with it. I mean, I don't suggest doing that, but I'm just trying to make the point clear. This is cool. And like I said, you can get some really cool dynamic poses out of this. So that's a look at Air Raid. And now let's do some comparisons. Okay, so for the first comparison, let's bring out the original G1. And this really is the original, because I remember when I was a little kid getting this, and I think this was like $4.99 at the time. But here, first of all, you could see how small he is. Yeah, this is what the original G1. And the original G1 always has those stickers and stuff like that. And yeah, this doesn't really stay tabbed in, but this is what I was telling you, the back of the plane, it should look like capes. Yeah, nothing special to point out, you know, just showing you what it looks like with the original G1. And then let's put him way back there. There was the Combiner Wars, but I didn't bring that one out. So I brought out my Takata Unite Warriors, because this one is a little bit more toon accurate, but it's pretty much the same figure as the Combiner Wars. And here you could see the difference between the two, the back view, and, you know, just always pointing out things, the differences. This one was not really trying to go for the capture the toon aesthetics. I mean, just a little bit. I mean, the colors. I mean, the Takata Unite Warriors, they were trying to go, you know, a little bit more toon accurate. But I'm speaking to the sculpt So you could see when we come up close, you could see this is what you call more the stylized version. I mean, he never had these diamond shaped things on his knees. And then they added some color here for some accent that breaks up the white color on the lower legs and foot, which actually looks nice. I say that many times, you know, the detail that they add here, you know, the stylized version, it does look nice. It's just my preference is for the Toon aesthetic, so obviously I'm gonna like this one much better. But that's not to say I don't like this, because this is actually still a nice figure. It just has to go with a different collection. So that's a look at that. And I'll just point out the gun. So here you could see the signature gun I told you. And this is what we got, a stylized gun. So yeah, just I think I made my point very clear. But yeah, here's a look at all of these. And I'll do one more comparison because I just took them apart, and I'm bringing out Wild Rider because these two both form the left leg of their, you know, combined mode. So here you could see what these two guys look like. And I actually like the scale here. I always thought the Aerialbots should be taller, bigger and taller than the Stunticons, because these are planes and these are cars. But here you could see what these two look like together. So now let's transform Air Raid into his alt mode and take a look at that. Okay, to transform Air Raid into his alt mode, first remove the accessories, so untap his gun, and then you can actually attach it to the bottom of his wing, like so, and hopefully that won't fall off during transformation. And then his head, you could take it, rotate it around 180, and then his arms, you want to bring it forward and then fold in his hand, and then straighten out his arm. And then you see the post on his chest and the slot on his arm. Line those up, tab it in, give it a good squeeze, and do the same on the other side. Lift up his arm, fold in that hand, straighten out his arm, find that post and the slot, line it up, tab it in, give it a good squeeze. And then when you come to the side, the back here, you want to lift up, not that one, the back piece here. And then you want to lift it up and over on top of his head. And you could see there are two slots for the two tabs on the bottom. And you line that up, tab it in, and then bring down the nose cone. And then we can come down to his feet, which is a double hinge for the back and the front. So what you want to do is lift up the front on both sides. And then the back, you want to push up, and it's going to unlock here. It's a double hinge. Do the same on the other side. So lift them both up like so. And then you could flip this up like so. Because like I said, it's a double hinge. Yeah, so it's a hinge here, hinge here. Once you got that done, then we need to tab in the white part on the knees. Find the tab and the slot, line it up, tab it in, give it a good squeeze. And then here you need to tab these in, but this is not your slide in tab. This is one of those over on top. So you need to get this side over on top, and then you slide it down, and then that gets tabbed in that way. And then we can finish bringing up his feet, his lower legs, and then push down on his feet. And then we can get this top part. But this top part, you need to actually use that double hinge, and you need to get this corner down and in first, once like that. And then you could line up these two tabs and tab that part in. And then the back wings, you could bring these down. And then these tail fins, you could rotate these around to the back. And then the last step is you bring down the wings, and there is a tab and a slot underneath the wings. Do the same on the other side. And now we have air raid in his alt mode. But there is a landing wheel that you can bring out. This is a little hard to get to because it's not really much space there, but you bring it down and then you could see the wheels. And now we have air raid in his alt mode. And now let's first compare this with the animation model. And you could see, for the most part, they did a nice job capturing the toon aesthetics. And I said for the most part because right here you could see they're missing the Autobot symbol on the nose cone. And what's interesting is on the packaging, you could see that they did give you the Autobot symbol on the front of the nose cone. So yeah, I would say it's a little off right there. But for the most part, I think they did a nice job. And to the back view, you could see that it looks nice. They captured the little details back here, the little stripes going across. So I think they did a nice job. So now let's zoom in and take a closer look at all the nicely sculpted detail. It's a nicely silver painted for the canopy here, for the window. And there isn't, well, there's some sculpted detail on the top, which looks nice. And then here, that's what I was telling you, those little stripes going across. That's cool. And then you do get these thrusters back here that are not painted. And then the wheels here, yeah, they're not painted. So it just looks a little off because it's not painted. But overall, it's a nice looking figure. It actually looks better in person than, you know, what I saw like on the videos for, you know, this coming out. So it looks pretty good. So now let's do some comparisons. So for the first comparison, here he is next to the original G1. And here you could see what these two look like together. The original G1, you know, has those extra stickers on there, which is, you know, very typical of G1. It does add some extra detail and stuff, which is nice, but those things never appeared in the cartoon, so I actually like the plain, simple, clean look. But, you know, this is still nice. It's just, you know, the nostalgia of the G1 aesthetics. So that's a look at the original G1. And then there was the Takata Unite Warriors. Like I said, I also have the Combiner Wars, but yeah, that's all put in a Ziploc bag. Probably gonna give that one away. But yeah, you could see what these two look like. And interestingly, let's see if we can get a better view here. Let's maybe zoom out a little bit more. And then you could see, or let's do it this way. They're about the same size, interestingly. Or no, actually, the new one, the Studio Series, actually is a little bit bigger than the Takata Unite Warriors. So that's interesting. And, you know, when I was transforming this, this has no landing wheels. So here, you know, even though I was complaining, you know, the wheels are not painted black, at least this has some landing wheels, but they're not functioning wheels. So yeah, yeah, it's just a little unfortunate there, but it doesn't make a big deal. And then for the last comparison, here he is next to the Legacy Wild Rider. So here you could see what these two guys look like. It kind of reminds me like the scene when they were fighting in part 2 of the Key to Vector Sigma. Yeah, that's really a cool episode. So if you have time, just watch the episode because I really liked that episode. It was really cool. But anyways, that's a look at some comparisons. So now let's transform Air Raid back to robot mode and have our final thoughts. now that we have Air Raid back in robot mode, I'll give you my final thoughts on this figure. Overall, this is a well-made figure. It's very solid, stable. You could see it doesn't go flopping around. The tolerance is really tight. You get a good amount of articulation, so you can see you can get some nice poses out of it. And aesthetically, yeah, there are little things off, such as these hips here. They're black when it should be white to be more tune accurate. And then just minor nitpicky things. I was telling you the front of the nose cone is missing the Autobot symbol, which I think I'm going to put an Autobot symbol up there just because, you know me, I'm very tune accurate. But other than that, you know, this really is a nice figure. It's actually much better than, you know, what I thought from the promo images and, you know, watching the videos of this figure coming out. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to having the rest of them. And I actually did get another one. I did get Silverbolt, so here's kind of like a preview of my next video. So here you could see what these two guys look like. And once you start bringing more of them in together, it actually starts to look so much better. So yeah, I'm just gonna end my review here and just tell you that I really like this figure a lot. And in terms of a rating, I'm gonna give this a rating of 8.3 out of 10 because it is a nice figure. So that's it. That's my final thoughts and my review for the Age of the Primes Aerialbot Air Raid.
Right, okay. Enjoy your vacation. We'll be in touch.